Hello and welcome to Starcast from Planet Waves. My name's Eric Francis Coppolino, the host of Planet Waves FM and the author of the Planet Waves Horoscope. Weekly Horoscope resumes today, this week, in the current edition. Anyway, thank you for joining me. This is the short program for July 6th, 2023. It's a cloudy afternoon, very muggy, about 100 degrees here in upstate New York, and I guess they're saying it's going to start raining and keep going for days. So it hasn't started yet. So anyway, here we are. Tonight's essay is about, well, it's a continuation of my thoughts on the spiritual impact and influence of artificial intelligence and what this is doing to us. And I lead with the idea that there are people in the now somewhat separate, unfortunately, investigative reporting side of my audience that are accustomed to me covering very serious scientific issues, and then they find out that I'm an astrologer and they demand proof of astrology. And my point is that there is no proof of astrology. It either works or it don't work. You like it or you don't like it. It's very similar to music and poetry in that sense. And then from there, I developed the implications of this whole concept of people confusing that which is subject to proof and logic and that which is merely, or not merely, but imagistic and intuitive, and that kind of follows a flow of beauty rather than could be considered to be pure knowledge. So that's the lead. There's not much astrology in the lead. That's what I'm here for today, except I do have astrology in the weekly horoscope, of course. So where we are right now at this moment, we are past the full moon. That took place on Monday morning Eastern time, most of our time zones on Monday, and I'm thrilled that there's no attempt made by whatever authorities exist to disrupt the July 4th holiday with some nonsense. We went through Super Bowl Sunday being told about phony balloons and UFOs getting shot down by the Air Force. None of this having any validity in reality, but anyway, so it has been, at least in most locations in the United States, a calm week. That makes us nervous, though. I think makes me a little bit nervous, wondering, what's next, when the other shoe is going to drop. And really, we've all worked hard enough and have done the right thing for enough years that we don't have to live. We should not have to live under siege like that, wondering, when some, disaster capitalism bullshit is going to blow up. The sun remains in Cancer. It is approaching a square to Chiron. That's a little bit later in the week. I include the Chiron Sun square in my horoscope column. I might not call it out by name, but that's one of the aspects in the background. And currently there is also a trine between Venus and Eris. So that looks to me like a healthy kind of pressure release of all of this pent-up psychic pressure that we are under. Venus, of course, is going to station retrograde in a couple of weeks. The Venus retrograde is exactly on. This is I was heavily invested in Venus retrograde in the inner space readings. That's largely where the image comes from. Is Venus retrograde in Leo. So if we go to events, Venus goes retrograde on July 22nd. So that's in about 2 weeks. And then it will go direct on September 3rd. The whole process lasts about 4 months, and we're well into it right now. In more immediately local news, as of this moment, a little bit earlier today, actually, the moon entered Pisces, And that's yeah. So it was full in Capricorn, went all the way through Capricorn, made a conjunction to Pluto, went all the way through Aquarius. Must be moving quickly right now. Now the moon is in Pisces, and it is approaching a conjunction to Saturn. So Moon-Saturn conjunctions are depressive, but they are also good for focusing on business. And so the thing to do under a strong Moon-Saturn influence is take care of what needs to be done. Moon-Saturn in Pisces is going to be a reminder of the reality principle imposed on Pisces. Never an easy place for it to be kind of imposed, because Pisces is usually a kind of escape hatch, or a thing that we do for fun or pleasure, and don't really want to associate it too closely with all that must be done. The moon in Pisces is exact in about 10 hours from when I'm recording, so that's going to be about 2 o'clock on Friday morning. The moon will move through Pisces, and then looks like around Saturday or so will make a conjunction to Neptune. So there's always an interesting ride when the sun is when the moon rather is in Pisces. These days, you've got Saturn in Pisces, Nessus in Pisces, and Neptune in Pisces, along with a number of other factors. The good part of that is that there's a lot of stuff in water sign Cancer. There's Juno in Cancer, Sun, Mercury, and other points, Kronos, and other points in Cancer. And so, watery moon, watery planets usually is pretty helpful, good for us water sign people, gives us a little space to swim around in and go slowly. I think that's an important thing to be doing. I would, the very best thing about the 2020 crisis was, included with the very worst thing about it, which is that the world slowed down. And in fact, the world kind of came to a stop and slowed down. And I think that almost everyone appreciated the fact that the world had come to a near halt in March and early, even through April 2020. And I think we need to learn how to do that without a major crisis looming, or being told that, we're going inside for Armageddon, or for the forthcoming phony UFO incident. Speaking of that, I'm planning on looking at the scope of the UFO situation this non-existent UFO situation that we've been pelted with. The other day, I published about 200 articles, recent articles from the UFO files, just in the past month and a half. I mean, they are coming at us fast and furious with this supposed information. And it's not that I don't believe that there's extraterrestrial influence on the planet. Obviously, there are extraterrestrial influences. The human historical process has been intervened in many times, and I believe there are ETs walking among us in human form and all that. But what we're seeing in the news has nothing to do with anything that is really going on. It is purely a diversionary news item that is intended to keep people anxious and to offend their sensibilities, whether it's their rational sensibilities or their religious sensibilities or something. It's just designed to be offensive. So I'm going to look at that and consider some of the implications of these issues on Friday's Planet Waves FM, and we will also be featuring an interview with Christine Massey, who is the Freedom of Information Law person up in Toronto, who has gotten all these different governments to admit that they've actually never seen a scientific study saying that SARS-CoV-2 has ever been found. This is now up to 217 health agencies, governments, and institutions. 217. That is the agency count. That is not the letter count. Some of them have answered 10 different ways, like the CDC, for example, keeps responding. She keeps asking. They keep saying they don't have any samples of the stuff. All right, so if you're listening right now, you are likely to be a Planet Wave subscriber. Thank you very much for doing so. We are the subscription service long before all the other subscription services. We started this in 2003. Planet Waves Incorporated has its 20-year anniversary as a company on July 2nd. To those who've been with us and supporting us all or most or even part of that time, thank you very much for your support and your vision and your understanding this hybridization of investigative journalism and astrology that it seems to be we and only we are really doing. All right, I'll catch you tomorrow night on Planet Waves FM. Thanks for listening and stay in touch.